London, the capital of the United Kingdom, ranks among the richest cities globally. With an economy exceeding $500 billion, it serves as a major global economic force. If considered a separate nation, London would have the 26th largest economy worldwide, comparable to countries like Norway. For almost 200 years, it has been the leading center in Europe for high-value services such as finance, law, and consulting, providing some of the highest salaries in the area. But behind these dazzling displays of vast wealth, a very different picture is emerging, a reality of struggle, stagnation, and departure. In early 2025, official government statistics revealed a shocking truth about the UK's capital. The number of households living in temporary accommodation, a form of homelessness, has hit a new record high. Across England, a staggering 131,140 households, including over 169,000 children, are without a permanent home. This figure has more than doubled in the last decade, a crisis that is pushing Britain's social fabric to its breaking point. This isn't just a story about poverty, it's a story about a system-wide failure that is now causing an exodus of the very people the UK needs most. While real wages, what people take home after accounting for inflation, have finally started to show some growth, they are only just recovering from over 15 years of stagnation. People are being paid roughly the same, in real terms, as they were before the 2008 financial crisis, while the price of everything, especially essentials like housing, has skyrocketed. It's no wonder, then, that people are beginning to leave the UK at an unprecedented rate. A junior professional in London might look across the Atlantic and see that they could more than double their salary in New York, with a cost of living that is only around a third higher. Because of this, every year more and more of Britain's young, skilled workers are packing their bags for a better life elsewhere. This brain drain is hitting Britain's famed National Health Service particularly hard, which is facing a potential exodus of doctors and nurses due to poor pay, overwork, and deteriorating conditions. The story of people flooding out of the UK is a powerful metaphor for the state of the British economy. And ironically, this is happening while net migration into the UK, though recently falling, remains historically high. Research has previously found that those leaving the country were significantly more skilled than those entering, increasing the pool of low-skilled workers and lowering national productivity. So why is this happening? Why is a seemingly wealthy G7 country seeing a mass exodus of its brightest and best? The answer lies in a series of deep-rooted, interconnected crises that have been decades in the making. This is the story of why everyone suddenly wants to leave the United Kingdom. Before we dive deeper, I want to quickly thank the sponsor of today's video. In our digital world, our personal information is scattered across the web, collected and sold by data brokers without our consent. This leaves us vulnerable. That's where a service like Incogni comes in. They act on your behalf, contacting these brokers and demanding they remove your data. It's an automated, hassle-free way to reclaim your privacy. If you're tired of your data being a commodity, check out the link in the description to learn more. It wasn't that long ago that Britain was seen as one of the most prosperous and attractive places in the world for young, skilled talent. A recent poll found that 60% of Brits view life as being better in the 1000, 990s, and 2000s. This era, dubbed Cool Britannia, is remembered with a deep sense of nostalgia. The end of the Cold War fostered global optimism, and the UK economy entered a period of remarkable resilience. From 1992 onwards, Britain enjoyed its longest stretch of uninterrupted growth since the Second World War, often called the Long Expansion. But even then, the seeds of today's problems were being sown. The economy shifted decisively towards a service-based model, heavily reliant on the financial sector in London. This created immense wealth but didn't provide the broad-based employment that the old industrial sector had, leading to job losses in poorer regions. The 2008 financial crisis exposed this over-reliance, and the UK has been grappling with the consequences ever since. Today, the nation is facing a perfect storm of crises: an overstretched NHS, a housing affordability nightmare, and crumbling infrastructure. These are not new problems, but they have reached a critical tipping point. Perhaps the most pressing issue for anyone living in the UK right now is housing. There are simply not enough homes, and those that exist are unaffordable for the vast majority. This has made homeownership a distant dream for first-time buyers without a six-figure salary or access to the bank of mum and dad. The root of this problem is simple. For decades, the UK has failed to build enough homes to meet the needs of its growing population. This is largely due to restrictive planning laws and a lack of government investment in public housing. The crisis has its origins in policies from the past. The right to buy scheme, introduced in the 1980s, allowed council tenants to buy their homes at a discount. While it empowered a generation to own property, it decimated the UK's social housing stock. These homes were sold off but never replaced at a sufficient rate. As of 2025, England has around 4.5 million social homes, a significant drop from 5.5 million in 1979, despite a much larger population. With fewer social homes and impossible house prices, millions have been forced into the private rental sector. This surge in demand has sent rents soaring. All the while, house prices have outstripped real wage growth for over 30 years, creating a vast and growing chasm in society between those who own property and those who don't. This has led to a homelessness crisis that is often hidden from view. As of March 2025, the number of households in England living in temporary accommodation has more than doubled since 2015, hitting a record 131,140. These are families and individuals housed in often atrocious conditions, damp, mouldy B&Bs and hostels, at an enormous cost to local councils. This instability disrupts work, forces children to miss school, and destroys social mobility. Unable to afford a home, and with wages that buy less each year, it's no surprise that talented Brits are looking for a better quality of life in countries like the US, Australia, and New Zealand. And the core reason their wages are so stagnant is the UK's productivity puzzle. Productivity, the efficiency with which a country produces goods and services, is the engine of wage growth. Since the 2008 crisis, UK productivity growth has nearly flatlined. Before the crisis, it grew at around 2% annually. Since then, that growth has all but vanished. A key reason for this is chronic underinvestment. For years, UK companies have invested significantly less than their counterparts in the US, France, and Germany. This has resulted in outdated technology, reduced innovation, and a growing skills gap. The UK economy's engine has been sputtering for over a decade, and workers are paying the price. Nowhere is this story of decline clearer than in the UK's National Health Service. The NHS, established in 1948 to be free at the point of use, is a cherished national institution, but today it is on life support. The waiting list for consultant-led treatment in England, after peaking at over 7.7 million, was still hovering around 7.3 to 7.4 million in early 2025. Data consistently shows that survival rates in the UK for major health issues like heart disease and many common cancers lag behind most other developed nations. It's easy to assume this is just about underfunding, but the reality is more complex. Since 2019, the NHS has seen significant increases in funding and staffing. The problem is that these resources are being consumed by health inflation. An aging population requires more complex care, new treatments and drugs are incredibly expensive, and staff are demanding higher wages to cope with the cost of living. This means the increased budget is just covering the spiraling day-to-day running costs. There is little to no money left over to invest in the long-term capacity, technology, and infrastructure needed to build a sustainable service for the future. This pattern of underinvestment extends across the UK. Key infrastructure projects are notoriously slow and expensive to build. The most infamous example is HS2, a proposed high-speed rail network. First conceived in 2009, its costs ballooned from an initial £37 billion to a figure that could exceed £100 billion for a dramatically scaled-back line just from London to Birmingham. In July 2025, the government confirmed that over £40 billion had already been spent, admitting the project had been mismanaged and that there was still no clear final cost or completion date. And what about Brexit? While the 2016 decision to leave the European Union has undoubtedly had a negative economic impact, particularly by reducing trade with the UK's largest partner, it is not the sole cause of Britain's decline. Many of the issues we've discussed, the housing crisis, low productivity, NHS pressures, were deeply entrenched long before the referendum. Brexit has acted as an accelerant, making a difficult situation worse, but it didn't start the fire. The challenges facing the UK are profound and interconnected. They are the result of short-term thinking and a failure to invest over decades. The focus on immediate economic gains in the 90s and 2000s, often at the expense of long-term planning, has come home to roost. In July 2024, the UK elected a new Labour government, ending 14 years of Conservative rule. They have inherited what many are calling a poisoned chalice, a country with stagnating living standards, crumbling public services, and a deeply pessimistic populace. The question now is whether this new chapter can mark a turning point. Can Britain reverse these long-term trends and once again become a country where its own talented and ambitious citizens want to build their future? Or is the Great British Exodus only just beginning?